Hi guys, welcome to this new video from my bedroom studio. Okay, I'm sick as you can see, but here we are still doing the work. That's what we have to do. So, today we're going to fix a bad kick drum. I'll give you some context here. I had to play this gig. It was a small one, okay? The drummer was supposed to bring his microphones, but he wasn't told to do so. Someone forgot. So basically, he showed up without any microphones. And we had to get very creative to fix the problem because the only thing we had was some spare vocal mics like SM58, 57, stuff like that. We had like 3 or 4 of them, and we had to mic up his whole drum kit. So we had to get creative. It was quite a challenge. But I'm happy with the result. We were able to mic up his whole drum kit, and we didn't have tom mics, but we were still able to get the sound from the overheads. So that was interesting. Sometimes these situations that are not ideal, they're more fun because of it. Okay, so this is a live recording that we got from that gig. My kick drum doesn't have an ideal sound because we didn't mic it up properly. We used an SM58, like I said. And another problem that we had was that the kick drum itself was very small. So the pitch of this kick is way too high. The fundamental is at about 100 hertz, or either way, it's higher than I usually want it to be. So we have these two problems to fix. A recording that is not ideal, and my kick drum pitch isn't really ideal either. Okay, let's get to it. So this is the original sound without anything on it, just the sound that we recorded. Let's listen to it. Already we can hear a few problems. It's very papery. We surely need to EQ it heavily. The pitch, as you can hear, take a look in this area on my spectrum analyzer. You can see the fundamental is at about 100, which is where the bass lives. So I don't want it to be there. Take a look. Okay, apart from that, dynamics aren't really a problem. We had a good drummer, so he's pretty consistent. But I still gave it some very light compression, like 3 dB, just catching a tiny portion of the signal. Take a look. So yeah, just evening it out a little bit more, but the dynamics were fine. Okay, let's talk about the equalization. What can we do about having a kick drum which has too much energy at 100? Well, we can try and shift the energy to another area. So what do I mean by that? We can give it a huge boost at 50, which is where I want my fundamental to be. Let's say 10 dB. I want a huge boost there. Let's hear what it sounds like. Yeah, finally we are bringing out some of the low end that we want. It's like, I want my kick drum to live at about 50 hertz, and finally I can hear some energy there. But still, I still have too much energy at 100, so I'm going to cut it. And that's going to make some space for the bass also, okay? Have a listen. Already, you can hear it's like the low end sounds like it is deeper. It's really not. I just cleaned up some of the higher frequencies. Have a listen. I like it better already. It's like I shifted the energy towards 50 hertz and I took some energy away from 100, which is it's shifting the energy towards the area that I want it to be at. So this is already working for me. As a final touch, we can roll off some of the low lows, like 20 hertz. We can roll some of that off, just to be safe. And now, let's move on. Usually with kick drums, you have to clean a lot of the low mids to really bring out the sound. So let's have a look here on the Spectrum Analyzer. Let's see where the mud is. I can already see something happening here at 520. Let's hear it. Yeah, I definitely want to take some of that out. Let's see. I don't want to be too extreme with it. In some genres I would, for example in metal, hard rock, I really liked a scooped sound, but in this case I want it to feel more natural, so I'll cut a little bit of it, but not too much, you know? Okay, so let's see if there are some other areas which need to be cleaned up. Here you can see I have a peak at about 220. I want to hear what it sounds like. Definitely ugly. Let's try and take some of that out just to hear the difference. On and off. I like it, cleaned it up a little bit. And next, what do we have to do? Well, I think it is fine as it is, really. Let's hear it in context. I mean, we have enough low end. You can hear the kick drum pretty well. Sometimes the last thing I like to do is give it a little bit of attack. For this genre of music, 3K, 3.5K is fine, it's going to do the job. For some genres, I go much higher. For hard rock, for metal, I like to go higher. But for this genre, like I said, I want it to feel a little bit more natural, so I won't go as high. Let's stick with 3.5K and boost it, but I want a wide bell for this one, so that's too much for me. Yeah, just gave it some attack, but it still feels like, you know, a natural sound. I don't want it to be extreme for this genre, so it's fine for me. Let's listen to it in context. Yeah, listen to those toms. We didn't have mics for those. You can still hear them pretty well from the overheads. Yeah, just, you know, if you're curious about it, this is what I did to bring out the toms from the overheads. Instead of cutting the low end, I did cut the low lows, but I gave it a boost instead of cutting it at 100 and also 250. And this brought out the toms really nicely. Okay, It wasn't an ideal situation, but yeah, we made it. And this is how you fix a bad kick drum. See you in the next video.